Hey everyone, it's Tyler with Avad 3. We've talked a lot about the DM7 so far, and I want to continue on this trend and talk about what the DM7 means to me as a production designer. We've talked a lot about what it means for an A1, what it means for an entry-level A1, and what it means for us as a company strategically. But my role is pretty unique in that I'm designing shows for our clients. And so we're not going to look at the DM7 today, but I'm going to give kind of a deeper dive into what I'm thinking through as I design shows and how the DM7 plays into the shows that I design. As I'm sure you've heard by now, we are hiring here at Avad 3. And so if there's anything that I say or you've heard in any of these videos kind of piques your interest, whether it be as a production designer or an A1, or even just somebody interested in the production industry as a whole, we would love to know you. I really love interviewing people and I love meeting new people. So if you're interested in working with Avad 3 as a full-time employee or as a freelancer, please contact us. You'll see details below on how to do that. One of our big visions here at Avad 3 is making production scalable. And oftentimes when people hear that, they think scaling up in production, but we actually spend quite a bit of time thinking about how to scale production down. It's easy to add gear to shows, but to kind of pare things down while still delivering flawless events is actually quite tricky. As a production designer, you know that there are a million details that you need to be aware of. And what we think about when we add strategic purchases to our roster is actually taking some of that headspace off of the production designer and eliminating details that they need to know about. So there are things like physical form factor, headroom on the console, and literally just the mental freedom to design shows that work. One of the most obvious things with the DM7 specifically is just its physical size. As we scale production down, we have to fit in places that are smaller and smaller. Our front of house footprint needs to decrease. And Yamaha's done a great job at making this console very compact while keeping all of the power and functionality that we've grown to know and love over the CL and QL series. I can think of a few examples of shows that we've done. We've done some shows here in Northwest Arkansas at Crystal Bridges. Crystal Bridges is a world-renowned art museum, and they have a venue called the Great Hall. It's a pretty compact and intimate space, but because of the world-renowned nature of the Crystal Bridges, some high-level events happen in there. So we've done some events with some A-level artists, and we've had to bring in some pretty large consoles, the Avid, the Digico consoles, and they just take up a lot of space. We had one A-level artist come in and they requested, I don't remember specifically what console it was, but it had 3 or 4 racks associated with it. It had a stage box that was doing most of the processing. The DM7 specifically, it's all internal. All of the processing happens inside, unless you get off with the VST Wave stuff and that stuff, but we don't really talk about that here. But all the processing is internal. So you get a lot of power, a lot of functionality in a very small package, and that's just really critical for what we do. We've already talked in previous videos about the amount of mixed buses that this console has, and it's quite large. But to give you some tangible examples on why that matters for me as a production designer, is we do some commencement ceremonies around here, and a lot of times those ceremonies have multiple bands that play. So one of the more recent ones, there were 2 bands that played, and one of the bands needed 3 or 4 buses just for themselves. The other one just needed 2. And if we just have an M32 console on that, we can eat up our mixed buses quickly. Michael Curtis has talked about eating up his mixed buses very fast. So it's just nice to have a console where I can say, oh, the DM7's on this show. I don't need to worry about it. It'll take care of it, which is great. Michael Curtis has talked a lot about the Dugan processing on this, auto mixing. We have the M32 console, has 8 channels. With this console, we just don't have to think about it. We've done some shows here where we've easily had 16 people, 16 open mic channels. And that's just a lot for an A1 to manage. It's not impossible, of course. There's some really, really top quality A1s out there. But just as we try to eliminate the headspace for the production designer, I'm also trying to eliminate headspace for the A1 that's operating the console. My big goal as a production designer is to not only design shows that meet the client's needs, but also just to design a rig that my operators love to operate and set them up for success. So the DM7 is a really key part in making sure that that's successful. In the last video with Cameron and Michael, they talked a lot about Yamaha specifically and why we chose Yamaha. Yamaha is a pretty impressive company, and I'm excited about the DM7 kind of unleashing this new line of consoles. Yamaha is very reliable, very robust, and they're very future-proof. And so I'm actually looking to maybe not, be fully Yamaha house, but I do want to provide a consistent bed of consoles for my team. As we grow, which we're growing very fast, as we grow, I need consistency across the board, and it's a lot easier to train people up when you have like the DM3 is a big example of that too. We're looking at getting one of those, and just having a consistent software and firmware across the board is very crucial to providing a consistent environment for the team as they develop and grow. And with Yamaha's lineup, really you can scale as much as you want, all the way down from the TF and the DM series, all the way up to the Rivage PM series. There's something for everybody in all of that range. And so that's why Yamaha is a really key part of our strategic objective here. As I said earlier in the video, and as you've heard so many times in the previous videos, we are hiring. And so I want to take a brief moment and kind of tell you about my team, about myself a little bit, and kind of where we're headed. So we have positions open. We have quite a few positions open on my team specifically. We have audio, video, and lighting techs, but also we have an audio lead and a video lead spot open currently. The audio lead is a very crucial role for us as we grow. I talk to my team a lot about kind of this Dunning-Kruger effect. If you haven't heard about this, you should go research it. But basically, as you grow in your career, you kind of gain knowledge, and you get to this, they call it affectionately the peak of Mount Stupid. You have some pretty high-level knowledge about where you are in your kind of niche, and you think that you're doing pretty well. But then there's this little hump that you kind of uncover the next piece and you realize, oh shoot, there's a lot more here that I don't know about. Like for me, just to give a pretty tangible example, I'm a lighting person, and so I knew DMX and I knew lighting fixtures really well, and I was like flying high, I knew programming, and then like you hit this peak and you've learned about ArtNet and you're like, oh, now I got to learn about networking, and there's just a whole different world that opens up. And then you fall into what the Dunning-Kruger effect calls the valley of despair. And so the reason why I'm pushing for this audio lead and the video lead position is my background's lighting. I don't have as much background in audio and video. I'm still capable, but I'm definitely in the valley of despair with audio specifically. And so I'm really looking for somebody to come on my team and help us develop our audio department pretty substantially. So if that sounds like something that's interesting to you, you can email me directly, tyler@avod3.com, or go on our website and apply. But if that's not you and you're just like wanting to get into the industry, we also want to meet you too. So like I said, email me, go on our website, see the positions open, and keep your eye out in the future in 2024. There will be plenty more positions open. We'll be adding some new positions to the team as well. So again, my name is Tyler with Avod3. Thanks for watching, and I hope to talk to you soon.